Nothing says I love you like a homemade gift, right? Well, today I'm going to show you how to make something special for that loved one in your life that you can make yourself from home using 3D printing. Let's get into it. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Digital Den mini class. Today we are going to be talking about how to make something special for that loved one in your life for Valentine's Day, and we're going to be using this program called Tinkercad. All you have to have is either a Google account or you can actually create just your own Tinkercad account. It's tinkercad.com, tinkercad.com. You go over there, you log in, and then you click New Project, and here we are in the work plane. And there's always some kind of goofy name that the project is called, but I like to rename it. So I've named it Valentine's Day Project, but you can either leave the name, which was like Super Hango or something like that, like it says up here in the URL. But you can leave it whatever you want to do. I just have so many projects that if I leave the wacky name on here, I'll never be able to find anything on my on the project screen there. So all right, let's go ahead and get into it here. There's a ton of shapes on the right-hand side of Tinkercad, and since it's Valentine's Day, we can go ahead and grab a heart over here. And it is going to, everything is in millimeters here on Tinkercad, and so it is, looks like the heart is 26 millimeters tall and 28-ish millimeters wide. Now I can grab the corner here or one of the sides, and I can readjust the size of this here. And a good rule of thumb in terms of transferring things from millimeters to inches is that roughly 25 millimeters is 1 inch. So if we want for it to be 3 inches wide, about 75 or 76 or so is going to be right where we are there. And we want for it to be a little bit wider than it is tall. So I'd say that that's pretty good there. I don't really like that the color is brown. I mean, ultimately, the color here is not going to matter because you're going to be able to print it on whatever color you want. But just so that it's more visually appealing in our project window here, we'll just click on this button here, and it allows for us to be able to choose whatever color that we want. And then we are good to go there. So we have got our heart here. And now what we want to do is we want to put a lovey-dovey message on here to let that special someone in our life know that that we love them and that we made this for them, right? So we can grab the text here and we can type in whatever we want. So we can type in like, I love you, for example. And we can add that to the heart. So we can drag that over here and then resize the letters so that they will fit on the heart just like that. Okay. And that's perfect, just like that. What we're going to want is we're going to want for the height of the project. So you can right click and move the project window however you want, but we're going to tilt it down so that we can see how tall that our heart is and our I love you message. So we actually want to adjust all of this. So first, let's go ahead and adjust the heart itself. We don't need it to be 10 millimeters thick. I usually say that 5 millimeters is about the thinnest that I want for it to be. And if we want for this to be, you know, I mean, this thing does not have to be gigantic, you know, to get the point across. So we can make that about 5 millimeters thin. And then we, as long as it is 1 millimeter greater than the heart, the text doesn't have to be super tall either. And it will always stand out. Now, the text is also going to be the same color because the printers that we have here at the library all print in just one color. But it still stands out. I mean, you can see it's not going to have like the dark border around it, but you'll still be able to read it just fine. And if you wanted to paint it, you could do it from there. So you could like paint the letters and stuff, or you could leave it as is and it'll still look great. So there we have I love you on there. And if you wanted for the letters to be on top of each other, what you would have to do is you'd have to write every line individually. So for example, let's go ahead and move this I love you away over here, and let's grab some more text and bring that onto the screen. And so what we'll do is we'll just type the word I, okay? And then we will move the I onto the heart where we want it. And then we can adjust the size however we want. and adjust the height, which is going to be the button or the square in the middle. And as long as it's over 5, because we've set the height of the heart to 5, so as long as it's over that. And I don't think that the eye is very centered. So what we can do is we can click out and drag like a little square. And what we'll do is we'll highlight both the eye and the heart. And then there's some buttons right up here in the top right. And the one that we're looking for is this one called Align. We're going to click on that. And then this will allow for us to be able to align the eye in a number of different ways around the project. All we want to do is center it because we want it right where we dragged it. And there we go. So now the eye is centered. I'm going to go ahead and move it down a little bit by just clicking on it and then tapping the down arrow on my keyboard. And we are good to go. I have a feeling that we are ultimately going to need to make this just a smidge smaller. So I'm going to do that. A little bit smaller. All right, there we go. That looks pretty good. And now let's go ahead and write our second word there. And that word is going to be love. And we will drag that over here. And now we just need to adjust the size to be roughly pretty similar to that of the letter I. That looks pretty good. And now we just need to make sure that everything is going to be nice and centered. So we'll just do that. And there we go. So now we have the word love. And a third text box, we'll click and drag that over here, and we will change the word to you. And we can just click and drag that over to where we want that. Adjust the size by grabbing the corners, just like we did before. And that looks a little bit too big. Let's go ahead and adjust the size again. And there we go. I'm going to adjust the height of it here so that we can make sure that it's roughly, equally spaced with each other. So everything is aligned to the center of this heart. And I'd say that that looks pretty good. I think that the I love you wide looks a little bit better, but if you wanted for everything to be tall, that is how you would have to do it in this program. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the things I want to delete, and I'm just going to hit the delete button on my keyboard, and then I'm going to drag the wide version back on here. I'm going to select everything and then hit the center button so that I make sure that our message is nice and centered. That looks pretty good. And then finally, I'm going to grab another text box, and we just need to put the name of our loved one on here, right? So whoever that person is, you'll just put in their name here. And if you wanted to change fonts, there's only a couple of options here for various fonts. So I just usually leave it the same. We could adjust the beveling of it, which is like adjusting like the roundedness of it, but I find that kind of really makes it all wonky with the letters here. So I just usually leave that at 0. And then let's go ahead and adjust it to make it roughly the same size here. I wrote the word human so that everyone would be included. All right, there we go. And whoops, grabbed the wrong thing. We just need to make sure that the height of this is the same as the I love you, which it is. And I will go ahead and make sure that everything is centered once again, which it is. And then the last thing that I want to do is I would like to group everything all together. So that basically makes it so that it's all part of the exact same model. So now that that's the case, I can move the heart all over the place, and it is always going to stay the same. And the nice thing is that now that I can, now that it's all together, I can actually adjust the size to be whatever size that I want for it to be. It'll all stay nice and uniform. So a couple of things that we can do with this, if we want just the heart to hand it to this person and say, hey, this is your gift. You can leave it like that. Maybe you want to make a keychain for the person to always carry with them. We can absolutely do that pretty easily. We'll make it a little bit smaller so that it's more of a manageable keychain size, about 1.5 inches or so. So if 25 inch or millimeters is 1 inch, 1.5 inches would be something like 36 or so. And we want it to be a little bit wider than it is tall. So as long as we keep that, that's pretty good. And then what we'll do is there's a couple of different options, but I prefer just the flat option. So there's a flat and then there's a rounded circle option here. And I'm just going to use the flat one. And as long as our thickness is roughly the same as our other, move there we go, 6. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drag this. I'm actually going to make this a little bit smaller, down to 5. And you can type in specific numbers here. I accidentally made it too small. I'm going to say 5.5. So it's like almost, wait. That doesn't make any sense. The height is 5.5, yet it somehow is bigger than the heart, which, oh, I see. The heart is only 5. I remember now. So 4.5 is what we're looking for. There we go. All right, perfect. So let me readjust the size here so that the key ring is not quite so large. And there we go. We've got ourselves a little keychain. We can group all of that together so we can adjust the size of the overall project if we so choose. But this will allow for us to be able to put like a little chain on there or a little string that you can tie around your keys, so you can have the I love you human, or I love you whoever the person is, you know, put their actual name on there, message anywhere you go. And that's how you make a fun and quick craft using Tinkercad. And once you have completed it and you're like, all right, I'm ready to print this, you can actually send that to us here at the library and we will print that for you. It's $1 per print hour, but I can go ahead and tell you that this is going to be a grand total of like 50 cents based on the sizing of it. Now, the bigger that your model is, the larger, or I mean, the longer that it's going to take to print it, and therefore the more money that it'll cost. But and people always ask, like, oh, well, can you just give me a ballpark figure of how much something is? I mean, it relies on a lot of dimensions, like how wide it is, how tall it is, and how thick it is, and all these other factors. But if it's tiny like this, it'll probably be like $1 or less, right? And the way that you'll send that to us, up here in the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says Send To. You're just going to click on that button and then scroll all the way down to the bottom, and it says the word Invite People. So you'll just click on that, and then you'll click on Copy Link, and then you can actually send that link to me from our website at khcpl.org. And so I have that pulled up over here. So you'll just click on where it says How Do I, and then you'll click on the button that says 3D Print. And then you'll fill out your name. You can skip your library card. You don't have to put that in. And you can put your email address or phone number, whichever way you prefer that I contact you, to let you know when it's done. Select a color here. And not every single one of our colors is listed here, but this is just the general ones we have in stock. But for example, if you want it in pink, we do have that. And so you'll just mention that in the additional information that you want it in pink. You'll copy or you'll paste the link that you just copied from your Tinkercad to here. And then you will just say, hello there, I want this in pink, please, or something. Being nice is always nice. And then you'll just hit submit. And then basically that sends me an email and lets me know that you want something, and I will contact you to let you know how much it's going to be, because sometimes people will send me stuff and they'll think, oh yeah, it's going to be super, super cheap. It'll probably be like $1 or whatever. And then it's like $25 and they're like, what? No, I've never quoted somebody that much, but you know, I always like to make sure that it's okay. So, but anyways, yep, send it in. I'll print it for you and we will be good to go. Let me cut to me printing this so that you can see what it looks like, you know, once it's been printed, and then there you'll have it. All right, so here we are. We have just finished our 3D print, just pulled it off of the printer, and as you can see, it is roughly the perfect size here for us to be able to put this on my key ring. So that should go nicely if this was a gift for me or for whoever. But it also could be something that could easily be have a chain slipped on there. So if we wanted to turn this into a necklace of sorts, we could do that. Or, you know, whatever you would want to use it for. So there you have it, a little gift for Valentine's Day. So make this at home or stop by the Digital Den and we can work on this together. And thanks so much for watching this week's episode of the Digital Den mini classes. We'll be back again next week and we'll see you next time. Bye.